Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the 2018 season version of the Old Dominion football team. This is an exciting time of year in college football, made even more exciting by our first press conference every year that we do. We honor our heroes in the military. We've got some of them here with us today, hopefully getting ready to eat in the back. But each game, each home game, what we do is we honor one of our wounded warriors. We have them come out. They go with the captains for the opening coin toss. They're with President Broderick enjoying the game, and it's our way to say thank you and show how much we care about our military, particularly all of those that have allowed us to continue to do what we love to do. So please join me in a round of applause for our special guest here today. Now let's get that food line going back there. Get some people fed. Preseason camp. The football gods were smiling down on us all this year. 20 consecutive days of 100-degree weather. With the heat index, they made it as challenging as they could for us. And over the course of those 20 days, you really had to find out how much you love playing football or coaching football. And we learned that about this football team. We definitely love to play football. I feel very good as a head coach about our improvement in all three phases: special teams, defense, and offense, and particularly the mindset that the team developed. Everything we threw at them, they wanted more. They wanted to play football, and they wanted to improve, especially coming off of last year and the bad taste we had in our mouth, missing out on a bowl game. We still have, at this point, tremendous competition for playing time, for spots on the travel team. At this point, there are about a dozen freshmen that are fighting to get on that bus, that are fighting for the opportunity to play. With the new rule this year that the freshmen can play in up to 4 games, that's allowed us as a coaching staff to spend a lot more time with them in camp and getting them a lot more work in camp. In the past, you're so fearful about a freshman even playing one play that you would burn his red shirt, that you had a tendency not to play them as much or spend as much time in camp. Well, this group is not only talented, but they're hungry and they're excited to play. From August 5th, when they heard the rule, the explanation, all these kids want to play. So we've got tremendous competition going on with that right now. Starting with our special teams unit, I feel like the one area we've definitely improved is our ability to put the foot into the ball. And what I mean by that is our ability to kick off extra points, field goals, punts. For anybody that was there Saturday night for our final scrimmage, we took a little bit of time where we just had the long snapper, the holder, and the kickers out there. We had a competition, and at one point both Nick Rice, our starting kicker, and Brad Davis, our backup, both hit 55-yard field goals, and they hit them back-to-back within the competition. So leg strength has improved there. Nick will kick. He'll start out kicking for us, extra points, field goals. Brad will handle kickoffs, but their leg strength has clearly improved, as has our punter, Bailey Kate. Bailey's had a very good camp punting the football. So feel much better about that situation, and just overall with special teams, the players' attentiveness to it, they want to do well, and then the depth, as I mentioned, and I'll mention a lot this year, the ability now with the freshmen to help and add value to our depth is a good thing. Defensively, we've challenged our front this year to set the tone of our defense, and the way Zimenez, Apu, Toll, and Fox played in this camp, I feel very confident that message has been delivered amongst the defense. We have good depth in the defensive line. I feel like we can play 8 to 10 players, but those 4 clearly set the tone. And when I talk about setting the tone, every defense in America wants to pressure the quarterback. They want to make the quarterback uncomfortable. And our goal this year has been set by them is that that's what we need to do. We need to be a defense and a defensive front that affects change with how the offensive coordinator calls the game, how he feels about protection, that he may need to keep a tight end in with a tackle on one side and have a running back with a tackle on the other side to block our DNs, and that takes away from their pass game. We want them to feel like they have to do extra things and different things to protect their quarterback, because we're going to be relentless in getting to the quarterback this year. That's our goal. We plan on being more diverse defensively, a mix between our zone and man pressures and how we play coverage this year, with veteran safeties having the ability to confuse the quarterback with our coverage look. So those are all goals that we'll work on starting this week. Offensively, we emphasize the importance of the football, of taking care of the football, and that's something I feel really good about coming out of camp. Our starting quarterback, Stevie Williams, had an outstanding camp. His touchdown to interception ratio was as good as you could hope for, particularly from a quarterback who just went through his first camp as a guy who was working to solidify the starting position. He did that going into week one, and then all our guys who touched the ball, their ability to protect the football, whether it was a wide out catching the ball, a running back running with it, our quarterbacks running with it. We did a very good job in this camp with emphasizing the importance of this year. It's either about scoring points, or if we're not scoring points, we're punting the football, and we're playing good field position football as a football team, and that's one of our goals. We also work to develop multiple personnel groupings, which will be critical this year. We want to make it more difficult to defend us. We want to make it harder on the opposing defensive coordinator when they've got to look and try to match our personnel, and we can run different groupings out on the field. We can get more players that deserve to be on the field and help ourselves offensively. So I feel very good about that development with the offense, and that's still developing. Looking at this week's opponent, Liberty, this is a team that was 6-5 last year under Turner Gill. They're in a position that we're familiar with, that transition position where last year was similar to 2013 for us. You know, you can't go to the FCS playoffs, you can't go to a bowl game. Now they're in year 2 of that transition period, which is very difficult. It's hard to go through that. It's hard on your coaching staff in terms of how do you motivate your players for what they can do. It's hard on the players for what they're looking at. You got to find ways each week to motivate your guys. And the one thing that clearly motivates us about this football team is how they started last year. This team opened the season last year at Baylor, beat a Power 5 team on the road. That certainly got all of our attention, us and the players. We talked about that early in camp and all the way through. One of the biggest challenges about playing this football team will be going on the road in the atmosphere that they'll provide. We're certainly excited about that. But when you go on the road, you go in a hostile environment, you've got to have yourself mentally prepared for that. Offensively, they've got an outstanding quarterback. Stephen Calver is one of the top quarterbacks in the nation in terms of returning statistically, almost 3,400 yards passing. Even more impressive is the 29-6 touchdown to interception ratio, which means he does an outstanding job protecting the football. They've got a lot of weapons on offense. They've added defensively, they've added a lot of new players to their roster defensively. They'll try to confuse their opponent with a lot of movement. They'll try to outnumber you in the box. They'll play man coverage, so all things that can be challenging if you're not ready to handle it. And for us, we're excited to get the season going. We're excited to get on the road and play in a great atmosphere, and really looking forward to what will be an outstanding and exciting season. And I will gladly take questions at this point.
Bobby, where do you see, big picture, the Liberty kind of series rivalry developing, hopefully? 2 state schools, 2 FBS schools. This is like there's some common ground there.
Yeah, it's all of it's based on, Ed, for college football in Conference USA. We have 8 league games. We get 4 non-league. You know, we're scheduled out for a while with Tech. We're scheduled out with UVA. Home and home coming up with East Carolina, Wake Forest. So we would like to continue to have that non-league philosophy of playing regional teams. I can certainly see us continuing with Liberty beyond what we already have. And we want to continue to play as many of the regional teams as we can, and that certainly Liberty would be in that category.
Coach, Stephen has shown he can run as well. How careful are you telling him to be, though, given, how important he has shown himself to be this fall to the offense? Are you telling him anything differently with regards to running at all?
Hash number sideline. You know what that means?
Hash number sideline?
Brian, do you know?
Start at the hash, turn right the number, get out of it.
Hey, all right, very good. Yeah, that to your question, Nathan. It's what do you need to do for your football team to win? You know, is this a situation where we need to get a first down? This situation where I get all I can get and slide, but that hash number sideline, what we tell them is, hey, if I'm running the ball, I'll get to the hash. If I can get to the numbers, keep going. If I can get through the numbers to the sideline, get as much as I can get and get out of bounds. But it's being smart, doing what you need to do to win the game, but also doing what you need to do to stay healthy. And that's at anybody at the quarterback position, whoever we put in the game.
Coach, what's been the biggest surprise so far in preseason camp for you,
The weather.
besides the weather?
Besides the weather, the biggest surprise, Rick, has been the ability of the freshmen to comprehend what we're doing, to learn, and then to make an impact. The fact I mentioned earlier, there's 12 freshmen right now in very strong consideration to be on that bus Friday. That's other than when we started the program and we were playing with all freshmen. This is the biggest number we've ever had of freshmen that could potentially be impactful on this football team. So it speaks to not only the talent level, you've got to be talented enough to get yourself in the mix, but the determination, the drive of those kids, the ability of the coaches to prepare them to even be in consideration to get on the bus. So that was a very pleasant surprise of camp is those kids. And I mentioned there's a dozen, there's 30 freshmen overall. And there's other freshmen that we know will continue to develop throughout the year that you may not hear from them early in the year, you may not see them, but later in the year, it's going to be one of those, hey, who's that moments. I can see that happening with this class.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thank you all for coming. Again, absolutely honored to have our Warriors here with us today. We're going to enjoy a little bit of lunch. We're actually going to feed the media. So we stay in their good graces, and we look forward, hopefully, to seeing everybody up in Lynchburg at Liberty on Saturday night at 6 p.m. Have a great week, everybody.